Hello my friend, Daniel Midson-Short back again, and today I want to talk about a subject which is a little bit annoying to me. Something that I'm going to have a little bit of a rant about. I'm ranting at myself as much as I'm ranting at anybody else out there, but it's something that I have noticed has become a trend in our society. It's certainly something that I've fallen into, and maybe you've fallen into as well. And that is this obsession that we all have with productivity, with being productive in our life, appearing like we're doing a lot of things in our life, like we're busy and we're successful. Why are we all so obsessed with productivity, and why has it become the kind of benchmark by which we all live our lives and we show ourselves to the world in this way? You know, about 10 years ago, I started to notice this trend that was happening between me and my friends. Whenever I would catch up with a friend of mine who I hadn't seen for a couple of weeks, I'd say, "How have you been?" And they wouldn't say good or bad, they would say busy. "I've been so busy, man. I've been slammed. Life's been really hectic and crazy." They would all say the same kind of thing. In fact, I started to say the same kind of thing back to them. Now, here was the weird thing. If I would ask them specifically what it was they'd been up to that was so busy, they didn't really have an answer. They would say, "Oh, a lot of work, family stuff, you know, nothing much." There wasn't really something specific that they were busy doing. It was just this kind of general behavior or this impression they wanted to give out, like life was hectic and they were so busy. And I realized that as much as they were doing it, I was doing it too, and it had become this kind of meme, this way of us behaving and acting, even though no one had specifically told us that it was a good thing. We were just all doing it. Then a couple of years later, I started to notice that there was this emergence of all these productivity gurus out there, what I call productivity porn. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. All these YouTubers and online guides who started to discuss in minute detail all the ways to be more productive in your life. Hacks, tricks, software, tools that you could use to make yourself a faster touch typer or sleep quicker or eat better or whatever it was. There were all these things that people were encouraging you to do and to be, so you were more productive, you were more successful in life. And the funny thing was, I got addicted to watching these videos about productivity just as much as you probably have. But the weird thing was, I wasn't doing anything with the information. Instead of being productive, I was watching videos of people who were talking about being productive. It was this bizarre kind of oxymoron in a way, where I wasn't actually doing the thing that I was learning about, but I was kind of enamored with the idea of being productive. And that really led me down this path of thinking, why the hell am I and all of us so obsessed with this idea of being productive in our lives? What is it that is so appealing about productivity? It seems like this boring thing that management consultants talk about, and yet it's kind of overtaken the zeitgeist, if you like, the way that we live our lives, especially today, with things like hustle culture and, you know, appearing successful on social media. We're all kind of falling prey to this productivity scam, this way of thinking and behaving and acting, and we're all perpetuating it for each other. So as I've been looking into this in more depth, I've come up with 3 different ideas, 3 ways that I think we have changed as a society, and we've started to think about things differently that have started to create this obsession that we have with productivity. The first thing is that I believe productivity is a signal. And this is something that we all kind of know unconsciously. If we see someone who appears to be out there doing a lot of things in their life, they're very active, they seem to be achieving success or results in some area of their life, we kind of see them as someone who knows what they're doing, knows where they're going. And that may or may not be true. It may just be that they're showing to us the most productive parts of their life, whether through social media or their words or whatever it is. They're displaying to us this signal of productivity. And we kind of fall for it. We think, wow, that person has it all together. I should be more like them. The reality is that very often, even though we all act like we're productive and we put our best foot forward, we display our best persona out there to the world, the truth is very few of us are actually very productive. There's been research out there that has shown that in an 8-hour day, most people do less than 3 hours of actual productive work. The rest of the time is socializing, organizing, just generally wasting time. But we don't display that to the world. We don't say, "Man, I did 3 hours of work today." No. We say, "Oh, I was at work for 10, 12, 15 hours. When in reality, we're probably working about 4 of that. And this is something that's become a signal. It's become a way of showing that we're on the way to success in our lives. We're taking things seriously. We have a direction and a plan. But to be honest, it's kind of bullshit. We're not really doing the things that we say we're doing, but we're displaying that to the world through our obsession and a desire to appear productive. The second thing is that I think it is fun to plan, but not fun to do. Now, I am the worst case of this in the world. Every new year, I get so obsessed with planning out my year ahead, my New Year's resolutions, my goals, my quarterly targets, all that sort of stuff. I have a calendar, I have to-do lists, I have planners on my phone, I have everything you can think of that I love to get into the detail of and plan out to the nth degree. Do I do any of it? I do very little of it, to be honest, because the fact is that doing is a lot harder and a lot more boring than the planning. Whenever you see the potential of something, especially if you're a self-actualized type person, you get very excited about the possibility, the potential that's out there. You know, if you think about the year ahead or the next month ahead or whatever, everything seems possible. You can do anything in the future because it's an idealized version of who you are. But when it comes to reality and you have to start working on those tasks, very rarely do we do it. And I think this is a big trap in productivity or planning and preparing to be productive, is that it is fun to plan these things, but actually doing them is kind of boring. It's the same rote routine over and over again, and none of us really enjoy it that much. Even though we love to appear like we're productive by having all these strategies and systems in place, very few of us, me included, actually follow through on them and do something with all these plans. And the third thing that I've noticed is that productivity has become cool. Somehow, through the magic of the internet and social media, we've all started to idealize all these people who are out there traveling and doing business deals and, you know, in meetings and walking around or exercising, doing whatever it is they're doing in all these videos. We idealize them as the people that we should be like. We think that we should display those type of signals to the world as well because all these people are displaying them to us. We fall into the trap and the illusion of thinking that somehow all this productivity equals success and fulfillment. In reality, the reason that most of these people are so productive is because they have a whole team of people behind them making content that makes them look like they're productive. They may or may not be actually that productive, but they have a team of people who can create the appearance of it. And we fall for that appearance, hook, line, and sinker. We think that just because these people are out there doing all these activities, that somehow they're superior to us, that we should aspire to be just like them. And this hustle culture, this idea of being hyper-productive or hyper-focused or doing all these things in our lives, we aspire to that because we think, well, that's the way to get success. When in reality, it is just the way to appear like you're more productive on social media. Now, I'm not saying by any means that productivity or getting things done is a bad thing. No, there's times in your life when it's great that you spend a lot of time working on a task, you fulfill a goal or, you know, something that you want to do in your life. But the idea of just getting obsessed with being productive for productivity's own sake, that's where the trap is. And I have certainly fallen into it myself, where I spend hours upon hours planning or researching or watching productivity gurus out there telling me how I should live or what I should do, instead of just writing a list and getting on with what I want to do. So that is a message just as much to myself as it is to anyone out there who has got kind of addicted to this productivity culture or is obsessed with watching productivity videos. I'm not trying to take away from anyone who's out there creating that kind of content. I know they're doing wonderful work. Their ideas are sound and valuable, but if you're not using them, if you're just watching more and more productivity videos, you're not doing anything with your life. And this is something that I think we all have to wake up to a little bit and realize that it can become a trap if we're just trying to be productive for productivity's own sake. So my friend, as I said, this video has been a little bit of a rant. It is as much for myself as it is for anybody else out there who's got kind of addicted to this culture of productivity or obsessed with productivity hacks or tricks or gurus who are telling you how to live your life or to be more effective. What I would say is if you want to be productive in your life, sit down, write a list of tasks that you need to do for the day, work on task number 1 until it's finished, work on task number 2 until it's finished, number 3 until it's finished, and so on until your list is finished. If it takes you 1 day to do that, great. 1 month, 1 year, it doesn't matter, because productivity is something that you do at your own pace. You have to live your life in your own way, and you have to let go of this idealized version of being this hyper-productive, super successful person. Because eventually, at the end of the day, what matters most is fulfillment. And if you are doing the things in a way that matter to you, then I believe you are successful. So to finish this video, let me ask you, have you fallen into the trap of being obsessed with productivity? Have you found yourself watching videos about productivity that are wasting your time instead of actually doing what it is you're meant to do? And how have you got out of the trap of being obsessed with productivity? I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below, so please leave me a thought or a story about how you've overcome this in your own life. And as always, if you like this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to become part of our community. My name's Daniel Midson-Short. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening to my rant. And as always, thank you for improving yourself.